Well, it's early July 2017 and I'm on the next phase of building my birdhide down by the river. I've already erected the poles. They'll need reinforcing, and I brought down some metal bars to insert with the special improvised jig I've created to route out some locating grooves. And then on top of the platform I'm going to build the sides of the shelter itself. I've already prefabricated both ends. One of the ends, or the end with the door on, I managed to freight down on the roof rack of my vehicle. And then the other framework here, I've already pre-cut the featherboard, so it'll be a quick job putting the featherboard back on and also lining with this insulating film, which also hopefully will keep out any rain. So I reckon I've got about 3 days work, and also to reinforce the bracing of these posts with M10 studding with connectors that I've drilled, through which I will put concrete screws, really stout concrete screws, into the post. So a lot of preparation work back in my workshop to make it as easy a build on site as possible. Of course, the big question is whether I've remembered all my tools and bits of kit. It's amazing how even when you do a checklist you find you've forgotten something. But fortunately down here there is a builder's merchant and tool supplier, and in fact I'm reckoning on buying the remaining 2x2 and featherboard locally, because it would just been too much to carry down in my wagon in one go. Well, it makes sense to line and featherboard this end framework up on the flat platform and use that as a flat surface rather than use the undulating ground. All I've got to do is lift it up via the ladder and take up the necessary tools, drill, screwdriver bit, screws, and I reckon this will probably take me an hour or two, and then I'm ready to erect both ends in situ and then build the side pieces, link those on site. Well, it's early Friday morning and this is what I've done so far. Platform is up on the 6 posts and the 2 end sections are screwed in, and I'm in the middle of building the framework to complete the cladding using feather edge. So I want to try and make it watertight. I've already built the door so I can fit that on at the end, but my target is to try and get the structure more or less completed in this 3-day period, so I'm on day 2. Well, I love feather edge board. It's such a clever material. It's rough sawn, and even the sun rays bounce off the sawn surface, so it doesn't kind of absorb sun like smooth shiplap wood. It's just a great material. It's really inexpensive. I think a 1.8 metre board has cost me just under £2. I've just spent 50 quid on 30 boards. Guesswork that it'll cover the whole birdhide, but it's really a fun aspect. You're obviously doing a generous overlap, about 1 inch, 25mm, and I'm using it on the roof as well, and it's getting quite difficult getting up there. Need to be a bit of a contortionist to squeeze in and attach it with the insulating quilt that I'm using. So it's all good progress. I'm set myself a goal of 3 days work and I'm day 2. Weather's still good, not too hot, and progress good. This is day 3. Oh, I must be getting old. I'm slowing down. I used to be such a quick woodworker. I'm now cladding the slanting part and the cutaway part of the birdhide. That little cutaway creates visual interest, of course, but it's also an enormous amount of extra work. I guess the amount of featherboarding, and I think I might just have enough. But the timber yard closes at 1 o'clock today, and then we're closed for the weekend. So I may have to stay on because I really want to seal the whole thing. I think fitting the insulating foil, or quilt I think it's called, is slowing it down because it flaps around in the breeze. They're quite long lengths. I've got to overlap each one, overlap them in the right way so that any ingress of moisture behind the featherboarding won't run into Birdhide itself. So I'm doing quite a thorough job, and depending on how it all balances out, and hopefully it won't sink too much into the ground, I may later line the inside with 9mm matchboard, like a kind of Scandinavian interior. Quite exciting really, but I'm making rather slow progress today, so I've just got to go with the flow. I think I was out late night with some nice people that I met down here, made some new friends, and they seem pretty sociable people. So, you know, all work makes Jack a dull boy, as they say. Now, pretty though it may look, this Himalayan balsam is a real pest. I mean, it's a beautiful flowering plant. I got it wrong. It's supposed to lift up really easily. So let's try another one. Right, let's try again, and you can see how it's totally overgrowing the area. There we go. And then what you're supposed to do is break it off before the first shoot. I'm not a horticulturalist. I'm going to have to learn all about that. And then you can throw it away and it won't grow. But if you don't catch it, it will pop and the seeds will multiply by about 100-fold. It literally takes over everywhere. It's a really invasive plant. And of course it's killing the local wildlife. And it's not good for the riverbank either, apparently, because in the winter it just dies off and it's kind of this dead weed, and there's no kind of infrastructure of roots that will hold the riverbank together. So in floods, in spate, the river's really erosive, and I've noticed since I acquired this piece of land, I've actually noticed the erosion. Quite alarming. That's going to be my next major project. Well, you can hear the wind. It's really coming up, and I've been up doing the cladding with the feather edge boarding, and the branches around me from the trees are waving all over the place, but my Birdhide is absolutely stable. When using the feather edge boarding as a cladding method, you obviously have to have an overlap, and I just make a very simple jig, which is just a rebate sawn on this offcut of batten, and I can just place it on there and measure the distance at the top of the board and the bottom of the board, and I also pre-drill it as well, just making it much easier for when I'm up the ladder vertically installing the boards. I always work off a template board and just mark it with a cross to identify it. Well, it's day 4. My target was to complete the cladding of the Birdhide in 3 days, and to be honest, I'm completely knackered, so forgive me if I don't have a television presenter voice, high octane fueled engine energy. Can hardly pronounce the word. So my target, because there is rain forecast on the way, I'm going to complete the cladding, and when I ordered the featherboard, I bought 50. I just guessed that I'd need half a dozen more, and in fact I needed 10 more boards, which was fine. Picked those up this morning. The way I've designed and built this, there's very, very little waste, very few offcuts. So today, my final day on this phase of the Birdhide, is to complete the cladding and therefore make it watertight, and to reinforce the posts with the steel pins using the router jig that I've devised, and to brace the poles, take away the temporary battening and replace with steel, and I've only brought 4 pieces of steel down, so it's really a suck it and see situation. It's wonderful to combine power tool and hand tool woodworking, and there are situations where you have to use a hand tool, but of course you've then got to hold the wood, so a little bit of improvisation here to do this angled cut. Okay, because I've got about 6 hours left of working time today and my goal is to complete this target today, what I've done is I've stopped doing the cladding for the moment, and I've just inset the 3 steel bars around one of the posts. Now, given that I've got 6 posts to do, I wanted to see how long it would take me and also get an idea of how much battery power it would use up, because you know it's a real juggling act. Obviously by the end of today I want to make it watertight and secure and put in as many of these steel bars as possible to replace the temporary wooden batten. So that's the fun of it, the challenge of methodology, how long it takes to do a particular task, and just how accurate one is in estimating the strength of the structure, getting the visuals right, and estimating how long it will take to build when it's not exactly on your doorstep and you've got to plan what tools you bring down on site, how long your batteries last, etc, etc. Okay, the race is now on to get the remaining 4 posts reinforced with the metal bar. That's 12 routing operations, and it's now almost 6 o'clock, and because it's cloudy today it's going to get darker a bit earlier, so I'm going to race on and get it completed. And yeah, if I can get this done before dark, and I think I'll do all the routing first because that's the most tricky thing, the drilling of the screws, because there are 4 screws on each metal bar, I can do last of all. So this is a real kind of lesson in planning, how you organise your work, the sequences. Method is everything, and I hope if you tune into my channel you will learn my the methods that I've adopted. Some of them are unconventional, but it's taken me probably half a century to build up a vocabulary of methodology based on tradition and also innovation. The timing couldn't have been more critical on this. Even the clear blue sky is being overshadowed now with grey skies. And also my smartwatch is down to its last 10%. Useful when you're 2.5 meters off the ground to have text alerts on your wrist. Yes, I forgot to say there's so much attention to detail in woodworking, even kind of outdoor woodworking like this. I'm trying to avoid these splits. I put the mark here, but I realised it's too close to the natural splits where these posts have slightly shrunk. So I'm going to start my first mark here. So I've got to get 3 marks around the circumference. So the first thing I do is check where the splits are and avoid them. Well, I'm on the last post, fantastic, and it's 6:30. What a fantastic little drill this is. It's a McAllister 10.8 or something drill. Lithium battery. I've got 2 batteries, the other one fires the little mini circular saw. And what a great little tool it is. I mean, the battery has just died, but it's been doing a lot of heavy duty drilling, screwdrivering. I've done virtually the whole Birdhide with this little one, and I tell you why, it's very light. You know, when I'm up on a ladder, it's not so hard to use. So, you know, got a variety of tools, horses for courses, use the best one for the job. So we're within sight of completion. Then I've got another hour's work in tidying the site up before it gets dark.